All right, get ready to dive deep because we're jumping into the world of dancehall today with, you guessed it, Keyshia Ka'oir and her interview with Spice.
This one's gonna be good.
Oh, I know. I love a good chat. You know that, but Spice.
She brings it.
She brings it. This is next level. Like raw, honest, full of those, hold on, rewind that moments.
Honestly, like, she holds nothing back. I was floored by just how much she was willing to put out there, but also how she used the interview to speak on some really important issues, not just, the drama, but like colorism, being a woman in the industry. She got real.
And speaking of the drama, I think that's where we have to start.
Yeah.
The 2085 situation. For anyone who maybe hasn't heard the song, we're talking about Spice calling out, like, her former dancer and makeup artist for allegedly having relationships with, get this, her children's father.
Wild, right?
Talk about airing it out.
And this is where it's so important to understand, like, dance hall culture. Because in that world, calling out through music, it's not just about gossip. It's like a public address system, you know, a way to confront things head on. It's performance art, but it's real life, all mixed into one.
So it's not just a diss track. It's part of this bigger tradition in dancehall.
Exactly. It's like deeply rooted in oral tradition where music is storytelling, social commentary,
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes settling scores.
Which makes her response to Danger trying to, like, flip the script even more interesting. Spice basically points out that Danger herself, like, admitted guilt publicly. So it's like another layer of complexity to this whole saga.
For sure. And then you add in the social media aspect because, of course, all of this unfolds online.
Oh, yeah. Throws gasoline on the fire.
Exactly. And it really speaks to this double-edged sword that artists deal with today, right? Like visibility. On one hand, you have a platform to control your own narrative, but on the other, your life is everyone's business.
It's like the line between their public persona and, like, their actual life just gets completely blurred. So how does Spice even navigate that? I mean, you can tell she's genuinely upset about the betrayal, but she also owns her truth with, like, this crazy confidence.
And that's where I find this whole Spice versus Grace thing so fascinating because, and maybe you can weigh in on this, do you think it's a conscious choice for her to have, like, the fiery, take no prisoners Spice on stage, but then also allow us to see Grace, the woman who loves gospel music and family time?
It's like she's giving us a peek behind the curtain, showing us the woman behind the music.
Right.
It makes you wonder, do you think this separation is, like, crucial for artists, especially women in the industry,
right,
to deal with the pressure of constantly being on?
I mean, it's a really good question, right? Like, maybe it's a way of protecting her energy, her peace. As Grace, she can be vulnerable, a mother, a daughter, someone who, needs a break from the spotlight. But as Spice, she's untouchable.
The force.
A force of nature. The performer who commands attention.
And she does.
Oh, absolutely.
But she also gets incredibly candid about, like, the darker side of the industry, specifically the colorism she's faced throughout her career.
And that's where I feel like the conversation elevates beyond just, celebrity gossip.
Yeah.
She's not shying away from the tough stuff, how her darker skin tone, her words, has led to unfair treatment and double standards.
Like when she talks about her time on Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Where she felt like because of her skin tone, her reactions were judged more harshly. She even compares her own outburst to a physical altercation between two other cast members.
And that's a really powerful statement about implicit bias, even within the Black community. Her point about anger being perceived as aggressive or bullying when it's coming from a dark-skinned woman, versus how that same behavior might be interpreted from someone else, it makes you think.
Yeah, and it makes you, like, re-examine everything you thought you knew about, like, representation and how far we still have to go.
It's a tough pill to swallow, honestly, but her willingness to be so open about it's impactful, to say the least. I mean, she's shining a light on a conversation that needs to be had.
It's so true. And then, like, hearing her talk about how her husband, knowing this bias exists, will go out of his way to support artists who might be overlooked by others because of, their past. It's like a direct response to that inequality.
100%. Yeah, he's using his platform to level the playing field, which is, it's really something to see.
And it really makes you think about Spice's journey, too.
Yeah.
We're talking about a woman who defied the odds, like Grammy-nominated artist, entrepreneur, global icon. She's done it all.
Talk about a started from the bottom story. And she doesn't downplay it either. I mean, her childhood in Jamaica, growing up with very little, losing her father young, even experiencing homelessness after a fire,
She wants to process.
It's a lot. And it makes her success even more powerful in a way. Like, to overcome all of that, that takes incredible strength and determination.
It's that grit that resonates with people, you know? She's proof that you can overcome obstacles and really build something incredible.
Absolutely. And she did it all while, like, fiercely staying true to herself, her sound, her Jamaican roots.
Right. Like, she's this powerhouse in the dancehall scene, but she's also a businesswoman, someone who understands her brand, her vision.
And speaking of business, did you catch that part where she's talking about, you know, the reality of being an independent artist, managing herself, financing her own videos, handling everything? I mean, it sounds exhausting, but also kind of freeing.
It does. Like, you could tell there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
When you have that much creative control.
For sure. She even makes a little joke about needing an assistant.
Right.
But you can hear it in her voice, you know, the pride. Building this empire on her own terms, it's inspiring.
It's that entrepreneurial spirit, you know, like, she's a risk taker, a go-getter, such a fantastic role model for young women, especially in such a historically male-dominated industry.
Breaking barriers left and right. And she's also so open about, you know, balancing it all, being a mother, a businesswoman, an artist. Like, when she talks about relying on her mother and sister, it reminds you that even someone like Spice needs a strong support system.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
And you can tell how important family is to her. Like, the way her whole face lights up when she talks about her kids, even just those little glimpses into their personalities.
It adds such a, I don't know, like a human element to her, you know? Behind the music, the persona, she's a mother navigating the same joys and struggles as everyone else. It makes her relatable, even with a life that seems, I don't know, larger than life in a way.
100%. And even when she's talking about, like, the tough stuff, the pressure, the lack of sleep, there's this playfulness to it, this wit. You just want to be her best friend.
The charisma is off the charts.
Seriously. She draws you in with his humor, her honesty, her love for her culture, too. I mean, the way she breaks down Jamaican slang, reminisces about her favorite dishes, like, you can tell it's in her blood.
It's not an act, it's who she is. And I think that authenticity is what really resonates with her fans. Like, she's unapologetically Spice in a world full of people trying to fit in.
And she owns every single part of it. Her story, her background, her style. It's really inspiring to see someone so comfortable in their own skin.
Absolutely. And she's using that platform to challenge stereotypes, you know, to get people thinking differently, even down to something as, you know, what some might consider superficial, like her blue hair.
Oh, that's such a good point. She talks about how the color blue has been significant since childhood, like connecting it back to the blue house at her school, which she associated with, like, luck and positive energy.
Right. And it's amazing how those, what we might consider small details from our past, they stick with us, you know, take on these bigger meanings.
And then after her health scare in 2022, seeing all those blue hearts from her fans, it solidified it even more. Like, now it's this symbol of resilience, of overcoming adversity, but also this visual representation of that bond she has with the people who love her music.
Like, she infused this really personal meaning into it, you know? It's more than just a color now. It's a symbol of something much bigger.
Absolutely. It's like, it's more than just, you know, an accessory or a style choice. It's like this whole other layer of meaning now.
Right. It's powerful. And it speaks to, I think, her ability to connect with people on this deeper level, which reminds me, we were talking about her representing 3 generations of fans.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge, especially in an industry that's so obsessed with, like, what's new, what's next. What do you think it is about Spice that gives her that staying power?
That's a good question. I mean, part of it has to be authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's been doing this since the late 90s. So the fans who were listening to her back then, they've grown up.
They have.
They have families of their own. And now their kids are discovering her music.
It's become like this legacy, you know, passed down from one generation to the next.
Exactly. Like, it shows you don't have to chase trends to stay relevant. She's been a force for, 2 decades? Because she's built something real. She stayed true to herself, her sound.
Her message.
Yes. And she's not afraid to, like, experiment, to evolve her sound, but it always feels genuine. There's no, like, manufactured persona there.
And in a world that's so saturated with content, with everyone trying to, you know, get those clicks and views, that authenticity it's refreshing.
It cuts through the noise.
Exactly. It's about connecting with people on a human level, sharing your story, your highs, your lows, the messy stuff.
And she does that so well. She lets us in, shows us the woman behind the music. And I think that's what resonates with people.
It's what makes her so compelling to watch, to listen to.
100%. So we've unpacked the drama, explored her career, maybe even learned a little Jamaican slang along the way. This has been quite the deep dive.
We've seen how resilience, authenticity, and maybe a touch of blue hair can take you far.
Spice certainly proves that. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the world of dancehall. Until next time, stay curious.